Greetings, Mythics. How are we all? Yes, it is another Edra Scrolls Ramblings of a Storyteller. Yes, it's Edra Tell's Twitch channel. I do have an Edra Tell's YouTube channel and also an Edra Tell's website. So go to YouTube, type in Edra Tell's. You should see my YouTube channel. And if you also go to Google and type in Edra Tell's website, you should come up with the Edra Tell's website. Or you can just type edratales.com. I believe it's .com. I never remember. Why don't I remember if it's a com or a .co.uk? But anyway, if you just type in Edra Tales to Google, you should find me. And also, not only that, my name is Ken Boyter. But you might know that already. If you don't, you do now. This is Loquacious. He is the imp from the Bottled Imp. If you like fantasy reviews, we have over 450 fantasy reviews on this YouTube channel, the Bottled Imp. Fancy book reviews, fancy film reviews, and fancy board game reviews. So it's all good fun. Honest. Now this show is the show where we talk about creativity, we talk about your creative projects, we talk about my creative projects, and we ramble off onto other subjects as well. Good morning, Spell Sing. How are you? Yes, good morning to you, sir. And also good morning, Sally. I just seen your text, so I didn't get time to reply. Sorry about that. How is everybody? I woke up at properly about 20 to 10. As you can probably tell, I'm still a bit sleepy. I went to bed late last night. I just found myself watching Hercule Poirot until 1 in the morning, and then read Lovejoy till about 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock. I sort of drifted off. So yeah, I'm on book 5. I think this is book 5. I'm not sure. But it's the gondola scam. It's pretty good, this one. He's in Venice and he's been asked to steal all the antiques in Venice. Like you would do. Can he pull it off? Who knows? Those little grey cells. Exactly. All well, yes. So, but also, I do cross-fitness now on a Thursday evening, which is madness. It's pain. It's pain. It only lasts 40 minutes, but honestly, it's so intense that my muscles are still aching on my legs. So I kind of got up this morning and went, oh, God. Which is crazy. That's Thursday. We're now Saturday. Good morning, Martha. How are you? Too tired to think? So much changing. I don't like it. Oh, sorry to hear that, Martha. Well, the good thing about this is the show where you don't have to think. Yes. A little grey cells. Hercule Poirot, I guess as you get older, you start looking back at things that you watched as a kid, or you watched, in your teens, or even early 20s, and just go, oh yeah, I wonder what that was like. Oh God, I remember that. Let me watch that again. Or you take an interest in it. So Lovejoy is one of those things. Lovejoy, for those of you that don't know, Lovejoy is the name of... we don't know his other name. That's it, just Lovejoy. Yeah. I was just trying to think if he reveals it in the books, but he hasn't so far. So Lovejoy is an antique dealer, and he is a bit shady. He's a bit shady. And in the 90s, I believe it was, might have even been in the late 80s, the BBC started to adapt these books. And I used to love them. I really loved them. And, then forgot all about them. And then, over the years, I got, oh yeah, Lovejoy, I'd love to see it. Then David Essex had lustrous hair, yeah? He did have, he had curls, didn't he, David Essex? David Suchet was a Poirot. He was the goat, definitely was the goat. Oh, see, that confirms it. And Lovejoy, what I didn't realise was Lovejoy was based on a series of novels. So I was like, wow, what? And not many people know that. When I tell people that used to watch the show, they go, no, it's not based on a series of novels. And I thought, well, I'll give them a go. They must be good enough for the BBC to want to adapt them. But they are very different. Lovejoy is a bit more gritty. He's a bit more hardcore. He isn't quite as lovable as the TV show. Good evening, Lee Rin. How are we? Yes, it is on Monday, isn't it? And it is, if I remember correctly, the year of the horse. Everybody, yeah, Chinese New Year around the corner next Monday. I learnt the other day that Ian McShane played Heathcliff in the early... Oh, you are absolutely... Yes, I think I've seen a clip of that. I'm not surprised because he's very smouldering, isn't he? He's very... So, well, I learnt, or I was reminded... Oh no, I won't go down this rabbit hole. We haven't got time for that. Let's hang on. Too tired to think? Oh yes. I'm not sure that anyone will have heard of Lovejoy outside the kit. Yes, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But hey, you're learning something new. You're learning. So Lovejoy's in Venice, though. He is outside the UK. But I know. And Pancake Day Tuesday. Yes. But what is actually today? February the 14th. What? Is there something else that goes on today? I don't know. So there we have it. So it's really cool, you know, watching old stuff. So watching the ITV Hercule Poirot's, I saw some of them, but I wasn't into them as much as I was into Miss Marple. So is it Joan Hicks, Miss Marple, the ITV version of the like 90s? Fantastic. So again, I want to revisit them after I've watched the Poirot's. And it's Edra Tales Day, absolutely. Edra Tales Day today for about an hour. Yes. Well, it is, of course, you know. It's romance in the air. So, tell me what you've been working on. Tell me what projects you've been up to. Let me know what you've been doing. The remembrance of St. Valentine's. Oh yeah, here we go. Who was brutally executed by being ripped to shreds. That's the one. Yeah. And then you offer the shreds of his body. Didn't the lover offer the shreds of his body and the heart to their lover? What is that? Why we celebrate it? Because it's like, look, I love you this much. Have a real heart and some innards. So, good morning, Jonathan. Also patron saint of epilepsy. There we go. A little known fact from Jonathan. Wow. Yeah, it is weird actually when you start looking into these things. You go, oh, okay. It's kind of ruined it for me. He conducted secret weddings. Oh, is that what it was? People that couldn't... Right. I see. Secret dodgy weddings? Or secret, like, you know... Oh, society says you can't get married, so I'll marry you. For a price. Sounds like the sort of thing Lovejoy would do. Do you want to marry your horse? Come over here, no worries. The church won't let you marry your goat. I've got you covered. So, where should we start? Where we begin? Yeah, how's everybody doing with their projects? What are you up to? Are you stuck? Are you flying? Have you nearly finished them? What are you working on? So, some exciting news with Devilish Dilemmas. I have had delivered the hardback books. Now, I did open the other box just to see that it was the actual hardback books. Jonathan put here, currently heading to the globe. Are you really? Nice. You're doing a spot of acting, are you, Jonathan? Fantastic. Is this for Shakespeare versus Cthulhu? Or are you just interested in going to the globe? Are you just going to go and see a film? Not a film. Imagine if they built the globe and they went, yeah, we're not going to have any stage plays. It's a cinema. Actually, I'd be well up for that. That'd be really cool. Planestakes and photos of... Yeah, I was going to say, you're doing it for publicity, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely. Wow, what a great idea. Yeah, you kind of have to. Don't you? That's brilliant. Thank you, good Bardy. Good Bardy. And which play of the body seeing, Jonathan? Oh yes, so it's the same question that I asked. So yeah, I don't think he's actually seeing a play, but he's going to do some pictures, because you can go on tours. I've done a tour of there, and they just show you round, and it's really cool. I remember when they were building it, this version, not, come on, I'm not that old, not the original version. When they were building it, when they were halfway through building it, going on a tour there, and that was really fascinating, and they were telling you how they're doing it, and not seeing a play, says Jonathan. No, he's a Philistine. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, and it's amazing. So, and I've not seen a play, but my heart does sink. It's because it's like, you know, people stand in the middle bit. They stand. I'm like, I don't know if I could stand for 2.5 hours watching a play. I don't know if I could do that. Certainly not after CrossFitness. Speaking of Bard, says Lee Rin, do either of you or Jonathan play a musical instrument, Ken? The Groundlings. The Groundlings. Is that what they're called? The Groundlings. Oh, that sounds like a series of children's books. The Groundlings. Do either of myself and Jonathan play a musical instrument? I play the Fool. Oh, I haven't got my bell. Ding! I used to play the guitar, but I'm not a natural musician. It's not something that I would naturally go to. So no is the answer, really. I got guitar lessons for about a year, maybe a year and a half, possibly 2 years. And I, got reasonably good on it. I could do a few longer tunes. But it's not something I'm natural at. Whereas my son, he sort of, I then gave my guitar to him, and he's just started playing it like naturally, and just started, riffing off it and learning off YouTube. He didn't really want proper lessons or anything, so we went, okay. And my mum and dad are the musicians. My mum was a professional piano player, professional piano player, but also a teacher. And she got her LRAM ALCM, which is the highest award you can get. And it's from the Royal, Royal London Music? No, was it from the Royal Academy of Music in London? That's the one. And it's the highest thing you can get. And so they're letters after her name. And one was for performing. So she's like concert level performance of the piano. And one was for teaching, like the highest teaching you could do. So she was an amazing pianist. It was absolutely amazing. And my dad used to play the banjo, played the saxophone, used to play the trumpet. Very musical. And he had his own jazz band, or a series of jazz bands over the years. And he lived in Portugal for like 10 years, maybe 15 years. And he kind of was responsible for bringing that type of jazz to the Algarve, to Portugal, because the Portuguese didn't really play that type of jazz. So he was very well known in that area of Portugal. So, yeah. Morning, my dungeoneering. Oh, I had to read this carefully. Ding dong doodles. Yes. I'm going to have to get the bell now that Jam's here. Jonathan has put, I'm planning on learning to play the ukulele. Are you? That is fantastic. That is fantastic. I would pay money to see you, Jonathan, playing the ukulele. Jam's here. Let the puns commence. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would definitely pay money to see you do that. There's a guy that plays the ukulele, but he plays lots of different instruments, actually, called Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer. And we saw him live at the Edinburgh Fringe one year, and he was really funny because he raps, but he's dressed up like an English gentleman, and he's got a big twiddly moustache, and a bowler hat. You know, he's brilliant. Or a straw hat. He's really good. Hurrah, another ukulele player joins the band. Now there you go. Lirin plays the ukulele. Do you play any other instruments, Lirin? So there we go. So let's crack open the hardbacks. There are 2 boxes of these. The hardbacks. I'm going to be very careful because I just want to look at these in more detail. As I say, I did have a quick look in the other box just to sort of see, and I only picked one book out, and it looked lovely. It looked amazing. His version of Rapper's Delight is also... Oh, have you seen that? Yeah, I think I've seen him do that one as well, I think. But yeah, he's really good. He makes up his own tunes, but then he also takes existing ones and changes the lyrics and does it in that ukulele style, or he does it in a different style. It's really funny. So here we are. Here we are. Here are the backers version of To Kill a Thief. So if you backed a reward that got you the hardback, one of these, nice and chunky, one of these is going to be on its way to you very, very soon. Let's see, they got it up the right way round. Yes. Imagine if they printed it upside down. Here we go. It's all here. It's all here. It's all looking good. It's all in focus. You know, it's all sharp. Yeah. All the borders are fine. It's all looking good. It's all looking good. Jam's comment has been blanked out. Oh, was it? Was it? Where's Jam's comment? So, I missed that one. So Jam said my underwear is made from ukuleles. They're G-strings. That's why. That's why. It's funny how it blocks it for you but doesn't for me, so I can just read it out and tell you what it says. Leave input here. I also play the harmonica by ear. Fantastic. That must be quite tricky doing it by ear, but you know, you're very talented. Though with embarrassment, I admit I still can't read musical notes. Yeah, but that's tricky. Musical notes. I did try to learn theory, and I used to know a little bit of theory. That's where I think if you play music, you can take it up to the next level, can't you? Because you kind of understand music a bit more. But it is complicated. Leaving is put simplified numbers. Sheet music, on the other hand, are much easier to handle than cryptic runes across 5 lines. Yeah. But what a system, though, if you think about the staves and the notes on the line. I mean, what a system. That's a brilliant way of... Because how do you put music on paper? How do you write music? You know, it's like... So for me, it is quite amazing. Wow, Twitch is prudy. Yes, can't say the word G-string. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, no, that's wah, 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 wah. So, we've got a nice 2 boxes worth of hardback books. Here they are. Here they are. So I'll be taking a photo of that. I'll probably do an update for people. So as you can see, I extended the cover, so it now wraps round, because I haven't got my proof copy where the arm was a bit funny. The arm was a bit funny. So there we go. So very happy with that. It's all coming together. The plan is coming together. Whoa-hey. So, the update on the Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye is I have now written 80 entries. I did plan to do more yesterday, but I just didn't get time. Other things came up. So I didn't write as much as I wanted to. However, I've written 80 entries. So we're getting there. 80 entries out of about 130. Because as people that write, you know, as Jonathan probably finds, and Jam sometimes, you know, sometimes you want to add a few entries just to make things flow a bit better. So, are you sticking to your 100 in total? No. No, Jonathan, I'm not that precise. I'm not as skilled. Yeah, question answered. Oh, hello. I'm not as skilled yet in writing game books that I can sort of just say, yeah, it's definitely going to be 400 or definitely going to be. And I think the reason why I've done that is that I don't. If I had 400 in mind for To Kill a Thief, I had 100 in mind for this one, The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. But when I planned both of those stories out and put them in, I thought I don't want to restrict myself just to get it to fit that 400 or just to get it to fit that 100, because I need the story to be told properly, if that makes sense. So hence why the To Kill a Thief is 407 entries, that lovely number. And this one so far is 132 entries. Although now I'm writing it, I've gone through it and said, oh, I've missed off, like entry 100 hasn't got an entry, entry 102 hasn't got an entry. So, however, I've actually needed to use those numbers, as I've been writing it. So at the moment, it's roughly 130 entries. And yes, but I'm not, if I need to add a few more entries, then I will. I'm not going to stick to it rigidly just because it's a number that's round or something, or that feels good. So there we go. So it is nice though to be finishing it or a good deal over halfway. So we've got 50 entries to write. And I have learnt from my To Kill a Thief where the entries are much shorter paragraphs. And, because we're doing sorcery at the moment, on a Wednesday evening, it's interesting how, just how short the entries are. So I don't feel bad now for writing shorter entries, if that makes sense. Because you're still getting an adventure, you're still getting, in this case, a sort of slight mystery, and you're still getting, you're still getting combat, you're still getting testing your vigor, you're getting testing your metal. You're also got, because you're a rat wife, you've got pipes, and you've got the ability to charm. So you can, throughout the book, you test to charm creatures, not just rats. You can sort of try and charm other creatures. So again, there's, the usual game book mechanics in there. So hopefully, even though the entries are shorter, it's still going to be as enjoyable. When I started writing To Kill a Thief, I was coming off of the back of writing a novel. So I was very much in novel mode as opposed to game book mode. So I was writing of Magic and Monkeys, where obviously the descriptions are more in depth. You kind of go into things a little bit more. Whereas with Fighting Fantasy, the descriptions of things aren't like they're not really in depth. If that makes sense. Oh, my sign's disappeared. Just went past Sir Ian's house on the train. Oh, fantastic! Don't mention where that was though. Just for security reasons. Did you wave to him? Did he wave back? Did you see him in his garden? Like mowing the lawn. Gulping tea because it's got to that temperature. You reach the end of his game room. Yeah, in about 5 minutes. Yeah. Probably in about half an hour, I would imagine. So Ian is probably the only gamer, not the only gamer, but somebody who doesn't have to worry and go, right, I'm running out of space. Which game shall I sell? He just goes, yeah, let's put another one in. Yeah. Oh, we've got the West Wing. Oh, to be like that, to be amazing. I gotta go, says Martha, otherwise I'll not catch the bus. Enjoy, is it gaming? Enjoy your gaming day today, Martha. Take care. Thank you for watching, appreciate it. He has over 1,000 board games. Wow. Wow. That is very impressive. That's very impressive. He owns, yeah. That is very impressive. How many do I own? 50, maybe? Maybe might be near 100. No, it's probably about 50, I reckon. May your attack rolls all 20, Martha. Absolutely, Lewin. I must be where he holds board meetings. That's why you get paid the big bucks, Jam. That's where you get. And if I'm going to boast a little bit, he owns one of my board games, doesn't he, Jonathan? Doesn't he? Wow. He owns the Crooked Crown. Now, he said he bought it and has played it. Boast away, yeah. Whether or not he's kept it, though, is a different matter. He said he liked it. He said he liked playing it. So, you know, he might have just been being polite, but I'll take that, even if he's just being polite. Yeah. Well, hopefully, the UK Games Expo, he'll come and check out Guildlands. Yeah? Check out Guildlands, Sir Ian. This bad boy that got an 8.5. Was it an 8.5 from Tom or was it an 8 from Tom? I can't remember. Tom Vassell. I'm buying Guildlands at the UKG so I can get the Messengers Guild. Absolutely, Jonathan. Absolutely, sir. Yes. How many did they get printed? They will have stock left of it because they got a load printed to cover several expos. It wasn't just for Gen Con. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll still have it. Absolutely. So there we go. So that would be fantastic if he bought a copy of that. That would be amazing. And amazing, obviously, that Jonathan's going to get a copy as well. So, what am I going to say? What's next on the agenda? It's very happy to get something finished, isn't it? For those of you that do creative stuff. But then you sort of go, right, what's going on? What do I do next? If he does, get him to pose for the photo with you. Would he do that? I mean, is he all right doing stuff like that? Because I always feel like I don't, you know, I'm a massive fan, obviously, but I don't want to come across like that. Yes. Oh, okay. Because, you know, I don't want to... The really frustrating thing is that, and I don't have many regrets in life, but when he came to check out the Crooked Crown, I was on a break. I was off walking around, or, you know, I'd gone to get some food or something. So I missed him. So I was like, oh, I can't believe it. You know, and I was there on the stand most of the time, you know, like the majority of the time. And it's like that one time I go off. Got loads of them. He's always obliging. Oh, okay. I don't feel so bad now. Did I? Oh, maybe I have got a photo of him. I think I have. I've maybe even got him with Grocklesnook as well. I'll have to dig that out. Yeah, so he is a really nice guy, isn't he? He's a really lovely guy. So we got this. So the next thing then is to finish the Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. I should finish that in the next 5 days. I'm going to say a week, you know. That should be finished. Then I do need a few play testers. Julian has very kindly offered to play test, so that would be fantastic. And then once I'm happy with it and it's all good, then I'll put it as an ebook, and then we will, you know, be sending that out to the backers. But I will send that out separately because I do want to get the physical books to people. I've got the paperbacks coming Monday, I believe it is, Monday or Tuesday. And then the only thing I'm waiting for are the dice, to get the custom dice finished. But Hazel has said that she is going to be working on them this week, you know, this upcoming week. So she hopefully, by the last week of February, I'll have the dice as well. Or kind of like the first week of March, I'll actually have because I've asked for 100 dice. I'll have 100 dice. Then I'll have everything, and then I can ship them everything, post everything to the backers, second, third week of March. At the latest, fourth week of March is what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Yes. And then, once I've finished everything to do with the Kickstarter, then I'll send the Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye, once it's finished, to Troy, who's very kindly agreed to publish it via the Savage Realms brand. So that's why this hasn't got my full mechanics, because I want to save those full mechanics for my own books. So there we go. So the other thing that's happening 1st of March is that's the opening registration for the UK game speed dating. Hello, it's not as exciting as it sounds, where publishers and designers meet in a big room, and you've got 4 minutes to pitch a game, and they've got a minute to ask questions, and then a bell rings, and they all move round. So potentially you can pitch to 10, 15 publishers in the space of like an hour or 2 hours, depending on how many publishers are there. So it's very good because you get to see them face to face, and they actually get to see your prototype face to face. A quick charades. Yeah, charades meets thinking tank. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really good. I've done 2 of them, and this year I've got one. I'm going to be submitting Flat Cat, Fat Cat. So that's 1. I'm going to be submitting the Wonky Wand. That's 2. Going to be submitting A Christmas Carol, because my aim is to get this ready to show in when UK Games actually comes up. So that will be 3. Then I've got, what else? Is there anything else? I've got a feeling there's another game that I'm going to be putting forward as well. And the way it works is you submit your game that you want to put through, and you can do as many games as you want. And then if one publisher that's agreed to, has signed up for this, you only need one publisher to say, yes, I'd like to see that game. Then you are invited along to see it, to demo it. And the good thing about that is you might not necessarily know which one asked to see it. However, you get the opportunity then to show it to 15 other people. Now, or however many, I don't know why I said 15, however many publishers there are. The thing about that is that you think, yeah, well, if only one person asked to see it, all the others aren't going to be interested in it because they didn't pick it. However, things can change because they might actually see the prototype, and because you've explained it, and if you're good at explaining your game, that might convince them and go, oh, I kind of, I didn't really understand it when I just, read your rule sheet or your pitch sheet. I don't know. It might help change it, so you might get 2 or 3 people interested in the end. So yeah, so that's kind of what I also will be working on. What else? Devilish Dilemmas. You decide how the story unfolds. Version 9. This is my stage play, the interactive game book stage play. It's really good. I follow John Robinson on Facebook, and he puts up these clips of his shows, and honestly, it's grown and grown and grown and grown. It's really good to see. So it's one of those things where you go, there's an audience for this type of thing. Ollie Mack's another person as well. Paul Flannery. I never get his surname right. Forgive me, Paul. With his Nightmare show and his RPG show, there's an audience there. So the good news about that is that my director friend, Big Dan, he's been talking to a theatre company about it. A theatre, if they're interested, they might put it on. We might get some funding. So if that's the case, then we can shape the show. Dan's got lots of theatre experience, so he can shape it, get it, push it further than I would be able to. And then hopefully we've got a really good show, and then we can do, you know, I don't know what the theatre, you know, how many nights they would want or anything like that. They might want a regular once a month show. Who knows? But it could be the start of something big. But like a lot of creative stuff, as you all know, you don't really know until you try. And that can be a bit soul-destroying, can't it? Because it's like, oh, I've put all this effort in and I've sold 8 copies of my book. So, oh, and I'm just going to talk about a writers group that I've recently joined. Is anyone else in a writers group? Jonathan, Jam, anyone else? Are you guys in a writers group? So, I started a writers group. No, sorry, I'll take that back. I didn't start a writers group. I joined a writers group in Hartford years ago when I was 18, 19. And I was like the second week. So I was in from the beginning, and I went for years and years and years. I ran it at one point, you know, brought it back from the brink when it was just me and this other person. I took over when it was just 2 of us, moved it to a pub, built it up. Then I just sort of, I don't know, I lost interest in it. I just lost my way with it. So my good friend Kate, who came along to the writers group, she took it over. She's done an amazing job with it, you know, over the last 10, 15 years. It's been really amazing. But then again, I kind of just got a bit disillusioned with it. And I sort of think it's because there wasn't anyone else writing fantasy. So I thought, well, they don't really understand fantasy, you know, which is maybe a bit arrogant of me. I don't know. But so this one, though, has anyone heard of... So Jonathan's put, no, he doesn't belong to a writers group. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because you sort of go, why do you go along to a writers group? And the way that the half of a writers group operated is that you'd bring something along to read, and then you'd get advice on it, which I think is perfectly fine. But of course, you have to sort of go, well, what's the value of the opinions? Do they know about that genre? You know, whatever. Whereas this one seemed to be slightly different. So this is Taliston. Has anyone heard of Taliston House in Great Dunmow? Okay, Dunmow or Dunbar? Dunmow, which is near Stansted Abbotts Airport. Stansted Airport. Great Dunmow. And Taliston House is... It belongs to the group of published writers. Oh, sorry. Jonathan has been, I belong to the group of published writers. Nice. That's what we like. Yes. You don't want the you don't want the unwashed. You don't want the unwashed going in there. You belong to a group of published writers. So my question to you then is, what's the format? Do you just talk about, you know, do you actually talk about your work, or do you talk about everything else that goes on with publishing? Because I went along, and it's an amazing house. It really is. It's in an ordinary cul-de-sac. You know, you would look at the houses, and, you know, they're 3-bedroom semis or 2-bedroom semis, and it's just very ordinary street. But it's a cul-de-sac. There's like a big sort of massive roundabout in the middle of it, which is a green. And yeah, it's just a big circle of houses. Both at the pub last night. Nice. I like that. That sounds good. So presumably you've been going, because you moved there. How long have you moved to, is it Devon? My geography. Presumably then that was, or do you go back up to London? No, presumably that's down in Devon. Yeah, and the house is amazing. The house is amazing. This guy, John Turrow, I think his name is, he spent the last 25, 30 years doing up his house in the most fantastical and magical way. And he's used authentic craftspeople, you know, to do like stained glass window. He's not just sort of put transfers on his window or anything like that. He's, you know, taken out windows, put LED windows in and all of that. Spent a fortune on the place. But it's amazing. 3.5 years, I was in Ridgemont last night. Oh, so you did go back. Oh, I see. You did go back. Cool. Well, that's good. Yeah, I guess that's one of the things. When you go to a writers group and you really enjoy it, and then you move away from an area, that can be a bit frustrating. so yeah, so this house is amazing. Each room is like a different area of your imagination. Oh, sorry, an era. But he's done it sort of from his imagination, but based on something. So, you know, I was walking around going, right, which house is it? Which house is it? And then, then you come across this really big, thick hedge. And cut in the middle of the hedge is this lovely arched wooden door. With like, you know, like the old chunky medieval bolts and things like that. It had that on it. It had like grill on it. And you look through... And I was like, is this it? Wow. And it was all sort of candle lit. Now, I don't know if they were real candles. It was at night time, but it looked amazing. And there was a stone path, and you go two ways. You know, you've got two paths. And he's got little ornaments in the garden. And because it was dark, I couldn't really see all the detail. However, right in front of his door, you can get past it, but it's a big standing stone. He's just got this big stone coming out of it. It's amazing. So you walk around there, and it, honestly, he's sort of redone the front of it, and the door is like a medieval door, you know, with those chunky bolts on it and all of that. It was amazing. And I just pushed it open because, you know, he was expecting people. He just keeps it open on that night, and you basically go in, and it honestly, it's like stepping into another world. I joked, I went, sorry, if I walked into a cult here, it was like, you know, low lighting, candles, just what you, as a writer, really inspiring. And then he gave me and this other girl, other new person, because I'm not a girl, so this other girl, but anyway, and the other new person, a quick tour around, and it's amazing, it's beautiful. So, for example, you go into one room that's down. So the living room is sort of like, you know, medieval type feel to it. It's lovely, gorgeous. But then you go into the opposite room on the opposite side of the house, and it's actually like he's put a greenhouse bit on it, but he's made it into like a Japanese like room, basically. So it's all themed Japanese. But when you go in it, and it's slightly steampunk, because when you go in it, the actual door, you know, like a submarine door that's sort of circular, and it's got a big chunky bottom, and you have to step over that, and it's, you know, it's got like a thing, and it's just all steampunky, and it's amazing. You open it up, and it's quite a heavy door, you know. So it's all authentic. It's not plastic. It's all proper metal and wood and all of that. And you go in, it's this decorated as Japanese, and he had these Japanese sort of lights, you know, and it was just amazing. Really cool. And then you go upstairs, and each of the three bedrooms are different. One was his study, and I said to him, how did you start this? You know, what? And he goes, right, I started it here. Because he goes, when I started writing, I wanted a room that would inspire me. So I decked it out like a 1920s private eye, you know, like noir-esque room. And the attention to detail is brilliant. He's got a little magnifying glass on the desk. You know, he's got the old-fashioned desk. Really well done. Plus, each room has its own particular smell. So this smelled very like wood and, I don't know, just whatever, private eye smoke. That was it, smoke. And then someone said, oh, this is amazing. And they said, why don't you do another room? And he went, oh, okay. So he started doing different rooms, but he's done in a different era. And you go through, and one of the bedrooms is like this Scottish castle. It's like a bedroom in a Scottish castle. And he creates backstories. So he then writes novels. Every time he did a room, he wrote like a novel. And I've not quite worked out if it's like a time-travelling series of books that he's done. He's got 3 books out. And then he's got a big coffee table book for the actual house. You know, he tells you about the history of the house, of each room, and the inspiration of each room, and beautiful photographs. And he also hides it out as being Airbnb. Or you could go just for afternoon tea. So he has loads of tourists. You know, he opens the house up and he has tourists come through. So it is really a really amazing place. But not only that, there was quite a lot of us there. There was about 15 of us there, I would say. And there was some, he likes fantasy, he writes fantasy. There was somebody that's writing a vampire book. There was someone else that was writing sort of horror. So it felt like there was, and somebody wanted to start writing a ghost book, a ghost horror, well, more ghost book. So it felt like these people understood fantasy more than my writers group, if that makes sense. So, and we didn't really talk about anybody's work. Nobody read a bit out and then we said, oh, well, maybe you could change this. We didn't sort of do that. It was more to do with how to move your career forward. And there were several people that had self-published, but were, fairly successful at it. There was one lady there who has written 13 books. She's now a full-time writer, and she's self-published. And she actually said after about the 8th book, she was approached by a publisher who I would imagine was, maybe a mid-tier publisher, not massive, but not tiny. And they offered her, so she signed a 2-year deal with them. Sorry, a 2-book deal. And she said, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do that again. Because she lost creative control. She said, they published it with a cover that, covers she didn't really like. One of the books, they changed the title. She'd given them a really brilliant title that fit the story perfectly. And then they changed it to something really cheesy. Oh, I can talk, can't I? So, I just thought it was really interesting. So, because they said, they offered her another two-book deal, and she said, I'm going to turn it down because she felt the lack of control. And she's now built up a readership, like you, Jonathan, and Jam, you've built up a readership where it's like, yeah, that, I'm continuing to grow mine. I'm in control of this. So it was very, very inspirational. And there were other people that have been published. And the guy, John, with his Taliesin books, he seems to be selling lots of books. And he did mention he used to work in publishing. And for me, I was like, so you kind of really know the industry inside and out. No wonder you seem to be able to sell your books. So I'm going to, I'm hoping over the next, couple of months, to get that advice to go, right, I've got, we've done all the backers' books, everybody's got their books, everybody's happy, but I do now want to launch this to the public. And I'm just going to say, how do you do it? What's the best strategy? I don't know if anyone's heard of the publisher Matador. Is it Matador? Which is for self-publishing, and you can pay them to do various things. But he just said, I just get them to distribute my books. That's it. I pay for them to do distributing, to get, try and, so anybody from any bookshop can order them. And so I'm not sure I don't know if they're actually in the bookshop, or they're just sort of, somebody has to go in and ask. But I just thought, I need to speak to him, maybe privately, I don't know, or, I don't know how it's going to pan out, these writers group. But I just feel like, he seems like somebody that knows what he's doing. The lady that's self-published and is a full-time writer now knows what she's doing. Oh, you use Ingram Spark, right, okay, yeah. I've heard of those because my friend Kate, who runs the Hartford Writers Group, she used Ingram Spark. Sorry, I should say she's had 3 of her plays put into a book by a publisher, and he uses Ingram Spark. So he's obviously a very small publisher, but he's got a lot of titles. But I guess, publishing must be really hard if you're going to try and set up another publishing company, So, that was really... So, for me, it's like, okay, this seems to be like a writers group that talks more about the mechanics of writing, as in, what goes on behind, like marketing. How do you use social media? How can you get your books to be reviewed? you know, all that sort of stuff that, I don't know, for me just seems the hardest part. And this is why I guess writing game books is it's books, but it's got its own subcategories. So I guess there's fewer books of competition. You know, I don't know how many game books are actually out there on the market, you know. So you're not competing out and out with every single novel. Well, I guess you still are, because, you know, people could either play a game book or read a book. So I guess you still are. But in terms of your direct competition, it's however many game books are out there on the market. Because if you've got an audience that love game books, presumably they're going to want to read as many as they can and play as many as they can. So, you know, do you see what I'm trying to say? There's a smaller pool of books for them to choose from, which is ironic when they're choosing all the way through the books. So I guess a marketing plan like Jonathan's got and Jam's got, you know, is that you kickstart it, you build up your audience, and then you can actually go directly to conventions, games conventions, where you know that there are people here that love playing games. Yeah, so you've already got an audience that are going to vaguely be interested in your game book. So it's an interesting thing. And the other thing about it is that what is clear to me, or I was reminded, is you do need to have a range of books. You need a series of books. Even if they're not connected, just have, you know, of the same genre. So, like Jonathan, like Jam, you've got a series of books and they're standalone. And, you know, and with Jonathan's one, it's like, if you don't like Alice in Wonderland, well, I've got Peter Pan. If you don't like Peter Pan, I've got Dracula. If you don't like Dracula, I've got, you know. So it's that kind of thing. It's working out how to get your series, you know, what's the hook, basically. Jonathan has put it, Destiny Quest was my first published through Matador. Oh, did you? Did you write Destiny Quest? Hang on, I'm getting confused. I'm using Ingram Spark. Oh, I didn't read that first. That comment didn't come up. I'm using Ingram Spark came up. Unless I missed that. Am I going mad? Destiny Quest was... Oh, sorry. I thought you'd written it. I was going to say, I didn't think you'd written it. Destiny Quest was first published through Matador. Michael J. Ward wrote Destiny Quest. Yeah, sorry, Jonathan. I need to go back to bed. So Destiny Quest did really well, didn't it? It did well. Yeah, so I'm going to look at Matador. I'll look at Ingram Spark. My problem is I do not have a lot of money for this sort of stuff. Even though I've just had a successful Kickstarter. But I need to save up for it then. If it's a proven thing that can really help sales, or at least get your name out there, then, you know, I need to go, right, it's going to cost me 200 quid to be on Matador. Then I'm just going to have to save up, aren't I? He then got a book with, Guns on it, but lost the creative control. Oh, there you go. So that is really interesting, isn't it? You know, it's funny, you know. That's, yeah. And that's what people were saying at this writers group. After 3 books, Gonzo weren't interested anymore. Wow. That is, well, that's heartbreaking for the guy. That really is. Because, you know, if you're an author, a creative, you're putting your heart and soul into these projects, aren't you? You know. And so I maybe it's true. No one's going to love it like you love it. You know, your fans might love it as much as you love it, but yeah, is a publisher, because you're one of many books that they're going to publish. Hello there, appalling nobility 4H, cheap viewers, streamboo.com. Remove the space. Don't do that. Don't. Ace Gamebooks, he continued, but it gone back to self-publishing the series. Yes, I had heard that. I think you've talked about that before. Yeah, the creative control. Would you lose creative control? I guess someone like J.K. Rowling, the books had sold so well that when she went to sell the film rights, she was in that powerful position to say, actually, I'm still in control of this. And I do remember that pretty much the only thing... No, I do remember a few things. When I saw Ian Livingstone's talk, about the history of Fighting Fantasy and of Games Workshop and all of that, they mentioned that, yes, they brought Dungeons & Dragons to Europe. However, that was a license. So that's why they created... I'm correct in this, aren't I, Jonathan? That's why they created Warhammer and, the Talisman. They wanted to create their own IPs because then they own it. And I remember him saying, so my advice is never sell your IP. Keep your IP. Keep your intellectual rights. Yes, okay, yeah, thanks, Jonathan, yeah. Because you then have creative control. And that's always stuck with me. It's always stuck with me. And the thing about Guildlands, it's interesting. Guildlands and the Crooked Crown and and book publishing is you still own the copyright. If that company publishes it, they are licensing it from you, and then after whatever you've agreed with them ends, you can claim it back again. So I think with Guildlands and the Crooked Crown, it's something like, they have to print X amount of copies, and then if they don't continue to print it, if it lays fallow, if they don't do anything with it for 2 years or something, I can't remember what it is, then it automatically, I think Kedrick and I can request, and say, by the way, are you doing anything else with this? Because if you don't, we're going to claim it back again, and then we could pitch it around to other publishers and start the whole process again. So there's always a sort of end game thing baked into your contract. So I would imagine it's the same with Michael and Destiny Quest, where he's gone, yeah, it's a 3-book deal, and then presumably both parties had the right to say yes or no if you want to continue with it. So at least his nightmare, if it was a nightmare for him, could end, and he could then go, right, let me get this back on track, let me start this again. So at least, and so that's keep your IP, keep creative control. And again, the lovely thing I'll say is working with Outset and Cheatwell is that they very much included Kedrick and myself in the creative development of the game. Once they signed it, they didn't just say, right, we're going to do everything, bye-bye, and we'll give you a copy when it's ready. They wanted us involved, and I think that's very much to do with this is a new territory they're moving into, so they needed us to guide them through it. So it worked out brilliantly because we got the artist, we came up with cover ideas. So one of the cover ideas is, one of our ideas. All the little men, Kedrick initially sort of drew them out and went, yeah, we could, and I was chipping in, changing stuff, and, so it was a real team effort. And Mark, the graphic designer, who ultimately designed, the little workers, we're back and forth. So it was very much me, Paul, Mark, and Kedrick, and then Dave, the big boss, when needed, to approve stuff. We kind of all worked on this together, and it was a very harmonious sort of process. So, I'm happy to work with them again, on other games. So there you go. So it's a really interesting eye-opener that now the majority of writers in that room, the feeling I got was, yeah, self-publishing is the way. What do we need these publishers for? It really had that feel to it. And I said, from my point of view, I thought this a number of years ago, because I thought, well, I'm like Dennis Waterman, sing the theme tune, hum the theme tune. I'm a graphic designer, so I can typeset the book. I'm a little bit of an artist, so I can knock up some decent-ish images, you know, if I need to. I can, you know, I'm used to liaising with printers, so I can, you know, I can get the files ready, print ready. What else do you need to do? Oh, you know, very kindly, I have Sally, you know, she kindly, you know, proofreads and edits mine. Claire, who's a professional proofreader, went through this, so that was very kind of her. So, you know, I can do all of the mechanics of the book myself, and with help with Sally and you know, in this case, Claire. And also in this case, playtesting it, you know, with Julian and people that playtest it, so that was great. But if it's a normal novel, then I don't need playtesters, obviously. However, so then I thought, well, what is a publisher actually doing? And a publisher, from my point of view, would be, yes, paying for all those things to happen, you know, doing the graphic design, the editor, the copy, you know, all of that. Yes, but I'm doing all that. So it would be marketing. And if a publisher isn't prepared to put marketing into your book, then they're as good as me. Because I'm not, you know, I haven't got a budget to put into marketing. So the only reason why really I'd want to go with a publisher is for the marketing and the distribution. Get them into shops and, you know, try to get yourself onto the One Show and, you know, things like that. So, which is probably a big deal. So on one level, you don't really need them. This is the beautiful thing about self-publishing. But it's a double-edged sword. Because you can get people that just publish books that have not proofread it. You know, it's full of errors. It's terrible writing. So, again, it's a double-edged sword. Leaving has put a Fox giving full profit rights, to George Lucas for merchandise profits for Star Wars, which they saw as worthless. Yes, I remember reading about this. In 1977 was a silly slip-up that was never repeated since. Absolutely. Well, Star Wars really was that start of that mass, you know, film merchandise era. Yes, you had the odd thing beforehand, but nothing to this scale. And George Lucas, as far as I can remember, and I read it, was that he needed another like $1 million to finish the film. And he went to the studio and they went, no. They went, no, we're not giving you any more money, because they thought it was going to flop. They just thought it's a disastrous film. It's not going to work. However, what he said then, he said, okay, I will give up my director's salary. I think that was it. You know, he bargained with them. And he said, I'll give up my director's salary for the merchandise rights. It was something like that, if you then give me that extra funding. And they went, well, all right, you're mad, but all right. And of course... the rest is history. Jonathan's put here, publishers spend most of their marketing budget on a small number of big-name authors already household names. Yes, I've heard that again and again, and you've just confirmed it for me, Jonathan. And I kind of get it. I do get it. Because obviously if you're a household name, people gravitate to familiarity, the word I can never say. And so you're going to go, you know, and that's why that's why it's popular to have a celebrity that's already famous and go, do you want to write a book? Go on, write a book. Yeah, but I can't write and I've got no ambition to write a book. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're a name. That sells. And that's the frustrating thing about all of this. And the other thing that somebody said at this writers group, they said that they had a friend who was picked up by quite a biggish publisher, and they said what they did was they published 200 books sort of in a year, and then all they did was the top 5 performing books in, like, I don't know, the first 6 months or whatever of their lifespan of the book, they then would continue to support. All the other like 195 books, they just went, yeah, we're not even going to push that anymore. Which, again, they're businesses. You can totally understand it. You can totally understand that. So if you do self-publish, you're not going to abandon your book. You're going to keep pushing it, aren't you? You're going to still put all that love and attention into it. And I think, you know, you're very good at doing that, Jonathan. You know, you've obviously got into a routine of going, right, I need to just put another post up on Facebook. I need to put another post up. I need to put... So you're very good at that. You've got into a really cool routine. So yeah. Oh, by the way, Mark Lane has another game book Kickstarter campaign. He did text me to say would I mention it, so I have done so, and it looks really good. So I backed it, and I did do an update on Kickstarter, just giving all the details. So, but you guys are into game books, you probably already know this. So yeah, so if you do want to check out Mark Lane's game book, I can't remember what it's called, which is really bad of me. But that's currently there. He has reached his target, and it's, I think it's about £3,000, might even be more, which is very impressive. Normally when I'm listening to this Twitch stream, what was that in answer to? What's that? Is that when at what point do you fall asleep? Is that what your question you were answering? Normally when I'm listening to this Twitch stream. Oh, marketing post. Oh, well, that's cool. That's really good. I'm happy to provide the background noise for you. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, when I watch YouTube stuff, I'm normally doing graphic design or something I don't. I find writing, if there's words going on in the background, is hard. But marketing is not, that's not real writing, is it? Kind of. But yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So check out Mark Lane's new Kickstarter. It's already funded, so if, you will get the book. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Unless he does a bunk, he won't do a bunk. Yeah, this is the reason why I just show you the same background every time, because it means that when I run off to Barbados, you won't know. You won't know. I've got a reputation to keep. That's the other thing when you're doing Kickstarter. Yeah, your reputation it has to be solid, doesn't it? Because people are entrusting you with their money. So that's why, again, I'm really happy to get this done, because it's like, I have delivered what I've promised. So that, that fills my heart with joy. And the same with Shakespeare versus Cthulhu, Jonathan. You must have been really happy. And you, Jam, with your one. But Jam, you're like a machine. You're writing another one. Yeah, But I'm keen. So my next plan of attack is... yes. Can't wait to... Third time lucky, Jonathan. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with drinking whiskey at 10 a.m. in the morning, Jonathan. Can't wait to delve into Edra's world with fresh eyes. Yeah, well, thank you, Levan. I really appreciate it. I know it sounds very corny, but whenever anybody shows an interest in my work or reads my work or plays a board game and they genuinely say, I really enjoyed that, you must feel the same, Jonathan and Jam and anyone that does creative stuff. It really gets you here. Where's my heart? Gets me here. Gets me up here by the throat. No, it really, it can get quite emotional, to be honest. So, yeah, next plan of attack then is finish Sleepy Eye, which I'm hoping to do in the next 2 to 3 days. I've got all day to write it, so I'm hoping to get 20 entries written. I've been aiming for 10 a day, but I haven't really got much on today, so I'm hoping to get 20 done. So if I can get to 100, then I do 10 every day. Then that would be, what are we now? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So hopefully I'd finish it by Tuesday, which would be amazing. And then once I've finished that, I am definitely cracking on with my with my Christmas Carol game, which I'm so excited about. Did I show you this? I've got a map, Charles Dickens, a walk with Charles Dickens through a Christmas Carol. And so this is the locations in the book. Unfortunately, they printed it upside down. This is the locations that are mentioned in the book. So I'm going to have a good read of this. I've read the book. I've picked out locations. Because what I'm going to do is the board is going to be London, but it's going to be a very stylised map of London, because you've got Camden Town where Bob Cratchit lives, and also Cornhill where Scrooge's counting house is, but they're about 1.5 miles away from each other. So I'm going to have to sort of fudge the logistics. It's not going to be an accurate map of London. But I do want to have it, you know, like a really nice illustrative map of London. So there we go. So I'm really excited to kick on with that. I did start working on that while I was waiting for these to go off to, you know, at some point to the printers. And then I remembered the rat wife of Sleepy Eye. I went, oh, I've got to write that. So there we go. Anyway, God, I've been rattling on for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It's always lovely to chat with you guys and find out what you're up to. So thank you, Lerin. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Jam. Thank you, Spellsing. Thank you, Lerin. I think I've already said that. Anyone else? I'm not sure. But thank you. If you did watch without commenting, I wouldn't know what your name is, but I do appreciate it anyway. And if you are watching on catch up, I appreciate that as well. If you do miss any of my live streams, you can go to the Edra Tales YouTube channel, and if you do want to find out anything else about me, or if you do want to order any books, because I have got Of Magic and Monkeys on there, and I've got my Story Spark cards, then yeah, then go to my Edra Tales website, which is edratales.co.uk or .com, one of those. I don't know why I can't remember it. Let me have a look. I've got it in the back of the book. It's .com. It's .com. The other thing I was going to talk about, but I forgot to talk about it, or we didn't have time, was I had a massive catch up with Rich, who's the illustrator of Magic and Monkeys and Grimace Ironblood. So it was a great catch up with Rich, but we'll talk about that next time. Till Wednesday evening, 2:55, everybody. Yeah, happy year of the horse, everybody. Yeah, and to you, Lerin. That is correct. Well, I'll be back. We'll be back, hopefully. You'll be hopefully joining me. Gocklesnook will be here. We will be doing part 4, I believe, of Sorcery, Book 2 by Sir Ian. No, not Sir Ian. Sir Steve Jackson. I'm going to call him Sir Steve. He should get a Sir title as well. Sir Steve Jackson. And it starts at 7:15. However, if I can get on earlier, so if I'm ready by 7, then I will just, you know, start at 7. But I'm trying to aim for 7:15. You know, that'll be the latest that I want to start. But I might start live streaming. It's a bit woolly, but if I'm there earlier, or I won't start doing the game book until 7:15, you know, past that time. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. You have a lovely rest of the day and a lovely weekend. And we will see you all on Wednesday. Crackerjack. I don't know why I wanted to say Crackerjack. And may your thieving never be caught. Bye.